Yep. Hello, everyone. It's October, and at least to some of you that might be watching this in the future, it's October when I'm filming this. And how can I let October just roll on by without me talking about something a little bit spooky and horror related and so forth and so on, because Halloween is right around the corner, at least for me right now. And as some of you are getting from the title, we are talking about the indie film ZombieCON Volume 1, or at least we're kind of nitpicking it or telling everybody our thoughts about it. And what can I say? There's a couple of things I need to disclose and say firsthand. Please forgive me about it. And that is to those behind this production. If you want to come on my tiny little podcast and talk about it, I'd be more than happy to sign up for Zoom and have you all on to talk about this and have your side of the story and your thoughts and so forth and so on. This is just my thoughts on everything. And it's an open invite. And two, I did receive a screener for this. That means, for all you out there that don't know what that means, is that I basically received a free copy. A way to not really spend money for this video, this movie. Even though I'm the kind of person that will buy something or rent something to let you all know if it is worth the cost of purchase or renting. And that being said, as of at least a week ago or so, this particular movie on Fandango was $1 to rent and $5 to buy. Prior to that, it was like $4 to rent and $10 to buy. I'm not going to get into spoilers in regards to it's worth it. Y'all have to wait until the end to see if it was this person's opinion. And please keep in mind, to those part of the production, I am just a YouTuber with about 150 subscribers, and a podcaster hasn't put anything out audio-wise in about a month. And take that as you will. And as you can tell, if you go into my videos, I don't get that much traction as it is. So please take that as you will. But if you still want to be on, the invite is out there to all of you. And I'll be happy to have you on. Now, there's a couple other things to go over. That is allegedly that... now, again, I did say allegedly. This took 10 years to make and release. I don't know how true that is. That's why I also have an invite to those behind this production to go into a couple of things. Another thing is there were some... Before I get into that, I was going to initially start this movie at a local hangout, but because at least on Fandango, the rating was TV-14, and when it comes to indie films, TV-14 could be is pretty much useless. It can, oh look, TV-14, I'm going to toss it out the window, and there could still be gore, blood, and naked breasts in a movie, indie movie ranked TV-14 on Fandango. So I didn't want to be watching this movie on my tablet and have a bare naked breasts pop up along with gratuitous blood and gore. Spoilers, there wasn't any bare breasts in this film. The blood and gore is pretty much kept to a minimal. So yeah, it's more true to form. I just didn't want to take that chance because, again, some indie films that I've seen on Fandango that were rated the same still had bare breasts, had a lot of gratuitous blood and gore a part of it as part of the indie film aspects. So just wanted to let y'all know. There were some folks that claimed that this wasn't filmed at a real convention. As a convention veteran, on both ticket holder, both on a lot of sides of the convention tables, if you want to talk about like that, meaning ticket holder, classified as a vendor promoting a podcast and YouTube channel, and those helping volunteer for a convention, and speaking with those who run conventions. That's where a lot of my nitpick is going to be with this. And for those of you that see this film and that are veterans yourselves and want to complain, oh, this wasn't filmed at a real convention, and you want to ask yourselves, why wasn't this filmed at a real convention? There is a lot of, what it boils down to is legality. A place, when it comes to, I'll put it like this, I'll give two examples. The movie, I think Ted 2 was filmed in, I want to say, Ted 2 was filmed at, I think, New York City Comic-Con. The movie Paul with Sean Penn, I think it's Simon Pegg. I'm sorry, wrong actor. Simon Pegg. He's a very decent actor, and puts out a lot of good films that I have enjoyed. I think he did a filming the movie Paul. Simon Pegg did do a filmed at a convention in an actual convention in Vegas, and hold on for a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break here. Okay, just that somebody was coming in, like what I do with the trains that do come by. I tend to pause for a little bit. And the other one I want to talk about, example that I want to give, is there was a reality show based around one of Kevin Smith's project called Comic Book Men. It was out in the early to maybe 2012-ish. It was maybe came out between 2010 and maybe 2013, 2014. One of the episodes was filmed at Baltimore Comic-Con, nearby to me. And matter of fact, I was a spec in one of the background shots. So, why was these movies and TV shows recorded at bigger shows versus this independent film? There's, like I said, there's legality and places, productions such as, let's say, Comic Book Men. They did have a booth there. They were guests there. And I'm sure the production company and the network they were a part of did give them sponsorship money in regards to that, and a lot of the notifications that, if I remember correctly, that were sent out during that, prior to that, and while there, they were constantly saying, "Hey, we're going to be filming backgrounds, B-roll, and so forth and so on at this event." And by purchasing a ticket, you are in essence agreeing those here filming to kind of use your likeness and so forth and so on. I've seen Four State Comic Con do something similar in regards to stuff posted up around the event, meaning if it's a way of telling folks that, hey, if you see somebody filming for YouTube, filming for news, by buying a ticket, you are pretty much agreeing for them to film you. It's just legality, and if you don't, and they're politely saying, hey, if you don't want to be filmed, avoid them. Don't approach them, so forth and so on. And there's a lot of folks, when it came to Comic Book Men, I'm using that as an example because you could probably find the episode either online, YouTube, or somewhere. There, a lot of folks were more than happy to, say, "Hi, I'm dressed up as, this character or this person," or talking about their experiences with getting something signed from the cast and meeting the cast, so forth and so on. And it was a very good. I didn't get a chance to meet them, but it was a very welcoming experience at the event. You didn't really see the those recording the camera crew and so forth and so on, but it's there. It happens, and it's mostly, again, legality and sponsorship issue. And when you're a smaller creator, someone like myself, or a Darkstone Entertainment, who is run by John Johnson, or Absurd Productions, and so forth and so on, they have to, if they filmed at a Four State, if they filmed at a Horrified or a Carolina Fear Fest, they have to worry about a lot of copyright, a lot of issues, and so forth and so on. And that's what they have to worry about this. That's why the convention, the Anime Convention West, was so generic, and they only kind of filmed in one spot and made everything look so, I wouldn't say so cheap, I don't mean that in a bad way, is because doing something professional makes it, you run into legality. And I get that, I understand that, and you have a lot of vendors that tell on themselves, so to speak, meaning they walk the fine line of what they can do and have the legal right to draw or produce and sell, meaning you don't want somebody who is drawing something that is Kingdom Hearts, anime related, whatever it be, Titan, Attack on Titan, Dragon Ball, so forth and so on, showing up, and all of a sudden the owners of these copyrights coming to that event, and these vendors wagging fingers and handing out cease and desist stuff. So if it's official merch hanging on a wall, it's official merch. And so again, the broad stroke answer is copyright in regards to that. And my other, like I said, a lot of the gripe regards to it is the legality. You can't really have, granted, this movie did overall, it does have its influences. I'll get into that as we go down the list. There was a movie put out, I want to say almost 15 years ago, called Ninjas vs. Zombies, and I think its sequel was Ninjas vs. Vampires, and this kind of has that feel to it. I don't know if they were familiar with this film. I'm one of the few folks that when I went to Baltimore Comic-Con about 15, 16 years ago, running into the creators of that franchise, at least Ninjas vs. Zombies, and buying the DVD and buying the comic and enjoying both. So it has a little bit of that feel. But going about the overall feel of this movie, which takes the premise of the story is a bunch of cosplayers that have been winning a lot of contests, or this particular cosplay contest for a number of years in the running. They do have a rivalry. You could get an idea of who they're supposed to represent. And if you're wondering, if you're a veteran like myself, wondering why these outfits were not done to par, especially if you're someone who has attended even a small show on a four-state Comic-Con on a yearly basis, or a larger show like Baltimore Comic-Con or Awesome Con or an Otakon, why weren't they? Again, best thing to say is copyright, and it just wanted, just seeing their versions of these characters, it made, at least though I don't cosplay myself, it seemed like they were being a Temu version of Wish Temu version of a Wish version of Spirit Halloween. I've seen folks that don't really know how to cosplay do better than they did. But again, I get it. Copyright. It's copyright. They don't want to be dinged by Disney and Marvel for who they were trying to be. Even though you, as a nerd, as a geek, might know who they're trying to represent. Again, copyright. Now, let's see. One of the things that it irked me right off the bat is I do understand set decoration. I understand that one of the photos that they zoomed in on, it seemed like the main cast, didn't want. Yeah, I understand cosplayers pose, they all this that, and but a lot of times even that photo that they showed seemed a little bit forced and like they didn't want to be there. That could not have been the safe or anything like that. Again, a lot of the nitpick that I have is around that aspect, is because I'm looking at it from a con veteran's eyes. I've been going to con since 2002, and a lot of them, if not a little bit prior to that. But now let's talk about the con center, the con staff and the con center staff, and and a lot of the again, this kind of ties up with everything. I understand what they're trying to do, and I'll give a little bit of disclaimer to it and kind of fight for them, and I cannot talk for them, but the con center staff and the convention center staff and the con staff being like giving the looks of what the frell, like what the hell's going on, or them just randomly taking photos, and the folks in the surrounding businesses, like what the hell, and who are these freaks, and even the the in that they got to be in attendance just randomly taking photos or video. Granted, the random photos during a cosplay contest is one thing, but when they're walking through the con floor, that's against in essence convention protocol. If you somebody dressed up in character and I just went click, my ass would be called out, and so would anybody else's ass be called out for that. Same thing with convention center staff. I see it in a lot of the groups that I lovingly call snitch groups. Otacon group, fan group, I'm looking at you. You're a snitch group. But it's that aspect, and if the caveat to that is the aspect of twofold. Number one, smaller cons like 4-State, if like 4-State's been in Hagerstown and Harrisburg, they get between 5,000 and 10,000 people on a yearly basis between the two events, for each event. And Harrisburg is a bigger city. I'm sure they have bigger Comic-Cons at their event, but me being to both 4-State events in the area, I get the looks of like, who are these, seeing, you're going to have, if you don't know about the event going on, you're going to be like, who the hell are these freaks dressed up like this? And especially with Hagerstown and here in Dirtyburg, Martinsburg, West Virginia, you're going to get that look. You're not going to have, no matter how big the event, no matter who, what, when, where, you're going to get, it could happen on a yearly basis, and the cosplayers here, if force it to happen here in Martinsburg, they're going to get like, who the hell are these freaks? Same thing I'm sure will happen in Hagerstown and Harrisburg. They'll get those looks. Now, if at venues such as Baltimore Comic Con, New York City Comic Con, New York City, where they have a Halloween parade every year. They have New York City Comic Con. They have Anime Expo New York, and DC has AwesomeCon and Otakon. Yeah, the surrounding businesses are going to be used to. It's going to be, oh yeah, they must have another, Otakon or, a major geek fest at the convention center. So yeah, there's going to be some weirdos walking around in costume. And to all of you out there that do cosplay, I say weirdos in a loving, passionate way. Because even though some of you may be and some of you are norms. You're going up and, I mean that lovingly and very enthusiastic way. But y'all know that if you walked into a McDonald's and they're not expecting you dressed up as whatever character you're doing, you're going to be, 5 to 1, you're going to be classified as a weirdo. But I digress. Let's kind of move on from that. It's just, some might critique the fact that this small show is having a cosplay contest that they go to a national, the winners get to go to a national event. They do. There are some conventions that do that, like the folks that put on, I'm going to say like Otakon or a San Diego. They might run a couple of smaller shows in the area and train. We'll continue that thought in a minute. Okay, as I was saying, in regards to the cosplay contest, being their cosplay contest leading up to a national or finalist aspect or a national contest, there are, even though it comes off as kind of false, it does not surprise me. I've heard rumors of bigger cons, let's say Otakon or Anime Expo, might having smaller events throughout the year, and therefore, if the winners of those play contests might go to a national event, meaning let's say Force State was tied to AwesomeCon in some way, the cosplay contests that that they go to AwesomeCon for a finalist, and whatever other conventions nearby AwesomeCon might, send their winners to there. That's just an example. So it's nothing out of the ordinary, and it's nothing too far-fetched. Now, going into the movie itself, the other nitpick for this is that, granted, this movie is an hour 51 minutes. It's very close to 2 hours long, and the first half hour, 40 minutes of it it's supposed to set the scene, set the story, and have a little bit of a character development, kind of introducing the who's, the what's, the where's, the when's, the how. But it felt more like seat padding versus character development. It was very slow. It just, the slowness of it felt like seat padding than character development. I'm not saying this is this is a problem inherently of a lot of indie films, but and I don't know if this particular film is, for those behind it, their first film. I've kind of seen, if it is, it's a par for the course. I'm not nitpicking. Yes, it's a nitpick, but I'm not harping on that. But it was there. But it did end on a joke that was decent and somewhat funny. It got me a chuckle. And one of the things that now this is where, like I said, at the 35-40 minute mark is when you see the first zombie. They're again, this is not me nitpicking or a bad thing. It's like me being that couch couch coach or coach couch, however you want to call it. Me couch coaching, it's like, oh, you're pretty much already covered in gore, but you're putting on, PPE, personal protection equipment to deal with the zombie you just took out. Why do you want, you're covered in gore. You don't need to put on gloves and masks to do, and aprons just to deal with that. If it was a joke, it was a good joke. And it's like, and I've seen that with a lot of horror movies, including the classic B movies, that it's like, wait a minute, you walked past, a whole row of knives for a rolling pin. Really? So it's par for the course for that, for a lot of B movies and I guess indie movies as well. So it's not really a gripe. It's like, hey, you got me to go, hey, wait a minute. Why? So it's that. It's not a bad thing. It's kind of a good thing. And I don't like to get political, but let's talk about something. It's what popped in my mind in regards to it's my little neurodivergent brain. They do turn on the news, and I will give a little bit of critique for this. The folks that this goes out to the folks that created this film. You could probably, given their the newscasters' takes at least one or two more times before they felt a little bit natural. I understand that in regards to the scenes, they were taking the place for somebody else that might not have been used to that, so it might have fit the scene. But for them to sit down and go, "Hey, I am newscaster A," and it seemed like they were like, instead, I'm newscaster E, with me is newscaster B. I'm filling in for newscaster C. But it came off like, like, who am I again? Oh yeah, I'm newscaster A, and I am filling for. Who am I filling in for? That's what it felt like. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Let me say it this: even though it's coming off again as a nitpick, as a gripe, as someone who has seen the behind the scenes and was part of behind the scenes for a lot of, for a few independent films, and spoken to a lot of folks that do independent films. A lot of the folks that they bring in is pretty much friends, family, and so forth and so on. So you're going to get a lot of folks that don't really know how to act. So take that as you will. And yes, I'm pointing myself at that in regards to that, so I understand. And part of that is that with that newscast, as they were rolling and saying a few things, saying their lines, you could tell they were starting to get comfortable with what they were saying. And what popped in my head, and again, I don't like to get political on this channel, but I'm going to have to touch on it real quick because that's where my neurodivergent brain went to. Because one of the newscasters said, because of what's going on, the government declared martial law. And the first thing that popped in my head was, every leftist Democrat just went, I'm not obeying Mr. President Trump King himself. I'm going to go outside and do what I want to do. I ain't, and few seconds later, the newscast comes on. It's like, the CDC is declaring this a outbreak. They're calling this, virus, whatever, or disease, whatever. And next thought that popped in my head, which swung everything to the other side, saying, now all the people on the far right are going, I don't have to be quarantined. I'm going out and do whatever I dang well please. And so it was like my brain went to both sides of everything in regards to that. So that kind of made me smile. It's like, when they say, martial law, just one side just like, I don't have to obey you, President king, and the other side they say, oh, we're going to have to quarantine because of this outbreak and so forth. I don't have to listen to you, CDC. It's just both sides. It's like, yeah, I could see both sides saying that. It's that if you want to complain about it in the comment section down below. But overall, they did have inspiration because I don't know when a lot of this was, again, rumored and alleged, took 10 years to put out and do. I saw hints of Deadpool, Shaun of the Dead, and there was a few others that were part of, hey, it's like, oh, they didn't, that's like, did they, use like aspects of Shaun of the Dead, a lot of movies take, a little bit of license from what they watch, what they see, what they're fans of. So that's nothing new. It's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with that. I've done it here on YouTube and for my podcast. I've seen other creators do it. They've taken inspiration. They've done their own thing or done their own takes. And there's nothing wrong with that. Heck, it's one of the things we told David Kerr a couple of years ago, and in regards to Bloody Nurse, when we had him on, and when we saw him a couple of years ago at the premiere of Zero, I talked to him about his movie Bloody Summer Camp, and how to me it felt like a very much an homage to the slasher movies that were out in the 80s to from the late 70s to the early 90s. And he had kind of like, yeah, I was trying, he was like, yeah, that's what I was trying to do, having an homage, my take on it, and homage. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. But my initial ending thoughts on this, it was a good story overall. Yes, it was fair enough. A lot of it, there were a lot of tropes, B-movie tropes in this. And it's nothing new. Nothing new. And it's not a bad thing. Was this movie worth picking up for, if it's on sale, is it worth picking up for the sale price? Yes. Is it worth picking up for the full price? Yes, it is. So if it's $10, if you want to pay $10, pay $10. If it's on sale for $5, pick it up for $5. If it's still on sale for $1 to rent, and you just you're not sure if this movie is for you, even if it's at the regular price of $4 or $5 to rent, yeah, rent it. See if it's right for you, if you're not sure. But if you like indie films and you want to support an indie creator, rent it, buy it. No matter what, you're supporting an indie creator. Am I going to pick this up for, if it's on sale again or still on sale? Yes, I'll pick it up for $5. Having the variety of it, is this a Kung Fury type of film or a Velocipaster type of film where it's kind of incredibly self-aware? Not really, but it does in a way know that it's an indie film on some level. You can tell it's an indie film. It is TV 14 rated, meaning the blood, guts, and gore are kind of minimalistic. The frightening effects of like the zombie makeup is not extreme, so you don't really have to worry too much about it's too scary for me, I'm going to walk the other way. Don't worry. I'd say a lot of this is, or the zombie makeup and what's a part of it is on par maybe with Disney Channel. And if you do rent it for like whatever, do rent it and you want to watch it before you let your kids watch it to see if it's okay, do so. I always recommend that. That way you can see firsthand if it's kid friendly or your kids want to watch it. If you're very deeply religious, don't watch this, because there are folks out there that I know that they'll watch something that is they'll watch something like One Punch Man and be like, oh dear God, and they'll come off sounding on the internet, sounding like Kawasaki dirt bikes going, nin, 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 how dare they. They'll do the same about, like, anything out there. I went out to watch, Scarlet Witch, and how dare she, crap like that. Me, it's going to be fair. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm not going to delete these notes. I'm going to keep these notes with me, and that way, again, if anybody that is a part of this movie that has made it this far wants to speak with me, my information in regards to where to contact me is down below, and feel free to contact me using those links, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, or remember to. There's a few people I have to get back to. I have a nasty habit to that, but I will get back to you and have you on to talk about what I have, and you are more than welcome to defend yourself and tell me where I'm right, where I'm wrong, and call me an asshole if you want, to my face, and I'll be happy to go over all these notes to your face and anybody you see fit. Side note, the one actress, I am going to pull up, I'll say that, I'm going to pull up IMDb, I'm going to pull it up. There was I looked up two of the main actresses in regards to this, and I'll let you know their name for it, their names. I'm going to bring up the first person I'm going to play. Apparently, that's actually her name. Her character's name is Punky. Apparently, her name is actually Punky. She came off as like I seen her in a movie from the late 90s, early 2000s, and part of me was like, I can't remember where, and the thought came off like, why did it seem like it was like a kid's? To me, in my head, it was like a kid's movie, similar to like The Mighty Ducks or something like that. Like she was like one of the background folks that was a part of it. I'm not saying, it comes off like, oh, are all people of color the same to you? No, it's just like I've seen her in a kid's movie like that, or something similar. No, I was completely wrong. She's, according to her IMDb list, Punky's IMDb list, she was in a couple episodes of Saturday Night Live. And me being chronically online, doom scrolling, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth and so on, I might have come across a clip with her in it, and maybe that's where I recognize her from. And the other person, the actress's name is Erin Ann. I'm drastically mispronouncing her name, but she played the character Claire. Apparently, she was in REC, or one of the movies equivalent to it. Beyond that, the person who played Mama Bear, I'm bringing up her filmography as well. She's been in a few that I might have recognized, including Beverly Hills Cop 3. Did I watch The Nutty Professor starring Eddie Murphy? No. But again, the clips. Terratoons. I did see Terratoons. Did I see Terratoons? Was this... I might have. I don't know. Terratoons 2. That's why. I might have seen the original Terratoons. That's why that name seems so familiar. So there is some stuff that I might have seen her in, just don't remember. So there is a lot of, and apparently she was in Addams Family Values. I might have to watch that later. So there is, and she was also a part of Star Trek Voyager. Um, a couple episodes, apparently 28 episodes. Let's see, she was also part of, goes back to her earliest is 93, Brain Smasher, A Love Story. So, she's been a part of stuff. I'm not knocking it, and let's go with Javier. Let's talk about that. I forgot about his character. I want to talk about that. There was a scene with him. It's like, again, it goes back to the whole copyright. Everyone in this movie, the cast, the characters are anime fans, and what they have on screen is I'm not knocking it. Again, copyright issues. You don't want to have Dragon Ball Z or Attack on Titan or Has Been Hotel on the screen and have been all of a sudden be struck down by Amazon or whoever owns rights to Dragon Ball Z because of something that's like somebody is watching. It's again one thing to have merch on a wall, and it's something completely different to have it on TV. That less likely if you need to have rights to view it on a TV screen. So they created their own little bit of anime. And Javier is like, well, why is this so gory? My thought was with that, trust me, this is just show ADHD for me. It's like, haven't you not? It was one of two thoughts. Like, you come off as an anime fan. How much anime have you watched, or have you not seen anime to know that anime in itself can be overly gruesome? Somebody get this person a copy of Akira, amongst many others. This person needs to be educated and corrupted. Stat. But a few seconds later, it comes on. It's like, hey, when I was growing up, all I, where I lived at, all we were able to get was Dragon Ball Z. So it was like, okay, that explains a lot for that character. He only grew up with, Dragon Ball Z, so therefore he's not really used to the hyper graphic anime that can be out there. So, yeah, okay, I get it. So, but overall, I did enjoy it. It was slow in times. Where it did pick up in some aspects. But a lot of it was for an indie film, it was okay. Will I watch it again, pick it up and watch it? Yeah, maybe when I'm sick and tired of rewatching a movie like Life Force for the 50th time or something else. I just want something different to scroll by, and I want something independent, and I don't want to watch something from, I don't want to watch Bloody Summer Camp again or The Only Ones again, but I want to watch something different. Yeah, I'll watch those. So that being said, what more can I say? I pretty much picked on everything and touched on everything. Again, the invite's out there. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you hate this video and hate what I said, hit the dislike button. If you hate my face, hit the dislike button. I don't care. It all helps the algorithms. If you want to share this video, please copy the link and share it out. If you want to hit the subscribe button, all that, it will encourage me to do more videos and hopefully more podcasts, and so forth and so on. So either way, take care. I'm the Good Captain, and I hope to see you all on the next video, and hopefully it's a interview with the folks behind ZombieCON Volume 1.